Hey everybody, how's it going? It is Matt and it is finally Fiendish Friday. Yes, 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 TGIF is upon us. I hope each and every one of you are having a great morning, evening, dawn, day or dusk, all that wonderful stuff because life is too short otherwise. Please do like, share, and subscribe. I can't stress that enough. I'm almost at that 290 marker. Let's see if we can get it up to 300 by the end of the year. That would be just epic. I would just love that if you guys could help me out on that end. So if you know anybody that's into my kind of content, please do let them know about my stuff and see if they are interested in giving me a whirl. I try to give you guys enough content out there to please almost any of the taste, any of the jaded tastes of all of our palates. Some of us have become jaded over time. Yeah, I'm the first to admit it. I'm very hard to impress when it comes to film anymore. But this one, super duper impressive. And this one came out back in 1980. Oh, wait, before I forget, like I said, like, share, and subscribe. And do look in the information box for more, the description box for more information on today's film, such as your brief synopsis, your starring cast, your director, the runtime of the cut I am watching. There's a couple little tidbits of trivia in there, in case I sometimes forget about mentioning the trivia during my videos. So, it does always give you a little more reason to check out the description box if there's something in there that I may have overlooked, or maybe I passed over it on purpose just so you guys can look in there. I don't know. I might have done that once or twice. 10 or 12. Anyways, let's get on to today's film. Today's is an amazing one. It came out all the way back in 1982, so it is 38 years old. It definitely has aged in some ways, but in some ways it hasn't. It is none other than Creepshow. Yes, folks, this is that beautiful, stunning release that Scream Factory did for this thing. This thing is so crisp and so polished. Like, this is the best it's looked. I don't know if this will ever be topped. That's how crisp and clean and how much of a good job they did with this thing. They really crushed it, knocked it out of the park, and it is just stacked to the gills with features. Like, there's interviews, there's a nice roundtable discussion with Tom Atkins, Tom Savini, Marty Schiff, and one other person, which is a very nice thing. There's a couple of commentaries on there. There's a brand new one with director of photography Michael Gornick, which is very nice. There's just so much stuff on here. John Amplis, that's the other guy that was in there with the roundtable discussion, which he has another thing in here where he's listed in he's in here somewhere doing another interview at some point or another. But it also comes with this very thick, not super thick, but a nice sized booklet on Creepshow itself and some of the other films that Romero worked on. Very, very cool stuff. Let me put that back in there. Get in there, you son of a gun. Now, as far as the Blu-ray goes, that we got the standard issue press Blu-ray. This I stuck with this artwork because this is what I remember it as, is the creep in the ticket booth. That's just one of the things I really remember it as is growing up. But it does have a very cool alternate artwork as well. It's got this alternate comic book style artwork, which I really, really like as well. It is very, very cool. I just stick with the other one because that's what I know it most as. That's what my childhood goes to, is that one automatically. It's a stunning piece of work. It's beautiful. Now let's get on to the movie. Today's is very interesting. This one runs at 2 hours, and it is an anthology film, so there is 5 separate stories. What do we got here? We got Father's Day, we got Jordy Verrill, We got something to tide you over, I think is what that one was called. The I Can Hold Your Breath episode. There's the Fluffy, and then there's of course there's They're Creeping Up on You, which is a very very cringy, bug cockroachy mess of a story. And then of course you got your sixth story as your wraparound, which is very good, which has both Tom Atkins and I forget who plays the mom, but the son is played by Joe Hill, which is none other than Stephen King's son. Very very young performance of him in there, which I believe Joe is a writer as well, along with both his mother and his father. Now, who do we have starring in this? First off, we got Hal Holbrook in the. Hal Holbrook is in here. He is amazing. He is in the Fluffy story, The Crate, where there is a creature that is been left in this crate underneath a stairwell in a college, and a janitor just so happens on a luck experience happens to find it. How it was lost and hid under there for so long and nobody noticed, I don't know, because it's not like a place that's completely hidden and secluded off by itself. You know, there is a fence over it, but you can clearly go up to it and look inside and see that there's stuff inside there. Especially when you look at this on this crisp, clean new release of it, you really can see what's under there. And at one point when they do a nice little pan shot where they're coming down the stairs, and they're doing a more wider solid shot, which you can kind of see that you can definitely see that there is some sort of crate underneath the stairs, and you can see that through one of the fence lines. So it's not just the part where it's been opened. So it's one of those things where that's always bothered me about this movie. It's like, really? Nobody ever noticed that son of a bitch down there. All these years. I call baloney. And then we also got Adrienne Barbeau in here. She plays Hal Holbrook's wife in that. Wilma, or Billy as she likes to be called, is a huge see you next Tuesday. Somebody that did a very very good job playing an evil wife, a wife that is a drunkard. She is very foul mouthed like a sailor, and she is very belittling on top of it. She is a real bitch, if you get where I'm going at. And then we got Fritz Weaver in there as well. He plays Hal Holbrook's friend, who is the scientist professor. Excuse me, the professor that is called when the janitor finds the crate down below. That's how he ties into it. He is essentially supposed to go over and play chess with Hal Holbrook's character that night. There's a horror, like the janitor is horribly mutilated. Another person is horribly mutilated. He goes to Hal Holbrook's house basically to confide in him what happened, and basically he loses his mind, and it just delivers an amazing performance of a man babbling that has lost his mind. Very very good, and that's basically your get with that, because you have a creature in a box. And then who else we got in here? We got Leslie Nielsen. He is in the Something to Tide You Over episode with Ted Danson as well. And I think it was Carrie Nye that was in that one as well. I could be wrong. But either way, this is them right here on the cover. But they are essentially a couple that are she's married to Leslie Nielsen, and he's this like playboy, like rich playboy type that Ted Danson is, that has seduced her, and they have both become a couple. One of those kind of ordeals. Leslie Nielsen's character finds out about it, and he has a masterful plan on how to get back with both of them. And it requires, at one point, it requires both of them being buried up to their necks in sand, to the point to where they cannot move, and they are just on the coastline to where the tide comes rushing in on them. And his whole thing is, you need to hold your breath. How long can you hold your breath? At one point, Leslie Nielsen even gets it. When he gets his just desserts at the very end, he even throws out a line, "I could hold my breath for a long time," and he starts laughing. And fun fact, a lot of the times when he is laughing, I know for sure he did it in Naked Gun, when they're coming out of the theater after watching, was it Platoon? I believe it was. It was Platoon or Full Metal? Not Full Metal. It was either Platoon or Apocalypse Now. I believe it was Platoon. But they're coming out of there laughing their heads off. But the way that he was able to make himself laugh so heartily was he had this little fart machine, and he would use it, and it would make him laugh. And that is essentially was how he would come up with some of these really realistic, like, maniacal laughs. That's where that came from. And then who else we got in here? We got Ed Harris, Vivica Lindfors, and I forget who else is in that one with him. That is the very first story. That is Father's Day, which is just an amazing story in its own. It might be my favorite. It's either that or The Crate is my favorite out of the entire thing. Nothing wrong with the other three, because they're all five of them are just out of this world good. The only thing I don't like about this artwork here is it's got 1, 2, 3, 4 of the stories. It doesn't have the final story with E.G. Marshall on the cover here, which I think that's a missed opportunity. They should have had him on there in some way or shape or form. But back to the Father's Day episode. That one is basically about a woman who kills her father, who is a huge prick. He is one of those guys that you don't want to be around, because he's so verbally abusive and so disgustingly just evil and just a foul man. Like his privileged life has led him to just pure bitterness and anger, and so he is it's Father's Day, and he wants his cake, Bedelia, and he's slamming his cane on his chair and calling her a bitch and this and that. She finally has enough of it, comes in and whacks him across the face with a marble ashtray. I can't say I blame her one bit. Can't blame her one bit. Bedelia, you definitely needed to pop that old man in the face. He was an asshole. But you fast forward it to however many years later, and they're getting together. The family's getting together for Father's Day every year. They do this. They have a glazed ham. Blah 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 blah. They get together, and Aunt Bedelia always goes out to the grave marker and has a talk with her dear old dad, and this year he happens to come out of the grave, and he kills everybody that is in his path because he wants his cake, and it's Father's Day. That's the setup for that one. And then we got Stephen King. His story is the Lonesome Life of Geordie Verrill or something like that. Ooh, excuse me, folks. Sorry. But the Geordie Verrill story, which he plays it down on his luck. Farmer who a meteorite happens to crash land on his property. He goes over and fiddles around with it. He's got this bright idea that he's going to take it down to the local university and sell it to the meteor department, which always cracked me up when they show the sign of it, and it Department of Meteors, which is like, oh my god, Department of Meteors, huh? Okay. Anyways, but the Jordy Verrill episode, he messes with this thing, busts it open, and by dumping a bucket of water on it because it's too hot. He went to go pick it up, burns his hands, blah blah blah. Shortly thereafter, he starts to grow this. If you can see here, he's got this green fuzz all over him. He essentially has got this like weed. His body is turning into a giant weed, and he is basically it's his downfall, his peril in that one. It's a very, very good story. Not a lot of big storytelling there. It's one of those. It is a very straightforward. It's an isolated horror. It's one character, two characters, excuse me, and then maybe three, 4, and 5 if you count the wrestlers on TV. You hear Vince McMahon Sr. It sounds like calling a match between one of the Wild Samoans and Bob Backlund, and I'm pretty sure it is Vince McMahon Sr. that's calling the commentary. They both sounded similar. Vince McMahon Sr. sounded very similar to Junior as far as when they would call commentary. And then the final story, we got E.G. Marshall in there, and it's another one that is an isolated horror film, or an isolated story. It is basically, he plays this guy named Upton Pratt, who is this super rich, another one who is a huge asshole. His privileged life has led him to become so bitter towards everybody in humanity. He is become a huge germaphobe, and he lives in this pressurized apartment complex that is supposed to be germ proof, bug proof, everything proof. It makes you think of oh shoot, what was his name? Howard Hughes, I think is who it was. The guy, the Spruce Moose, that guy. It makes you think of all the weird stories that they said about him when he in his demise. About how he secluded himself off and he didn't clip his nails, and he lived in a germ-free environment. One of those kind of ordeals, which it's kind of fun. I like excuse me. I like how they portray his character, because they do a great job making you hate him, almost as good as Adrienne Barbeau's character. I don't know which one I dislike more. They're both just dastardly people. But what happens is his apartment is slowly but surely being taken over by cockroaches. Very disgusting stuff. It's very cringy, makes your skin crawl. Everywhere you turn, there's cockroaches. It's very very interesting story. One that I would say it's my least favorite out of all of them, but it is still a very strong story. Now, as far as any kind of ratings would go on this thing, oh, and by the way, this is directed by none other than the late great George A. Romero of Night of the Living Dead, Dawn of the Dead, Day of the Dead, Creepshow, Two Evil Eyes, Martin, Crazies, etc., etc., etc. The man's a legend. He made some of the most iconic films of all time, and he didn't make a ton of films at all. The poor guy didn't make a lot of money in the process, but he did not die a poor man. He did not die a poor man because he made a shitload of money off of the O.J. Simpson trial. Look that up. Look at George A. Romero's tie into that and how he made money. Him and William Hinsman, back when O.J. Simpson was a football player, made a documentary called "The Juice Is Loose." And after the O.J. Simpson murders happened, that documentary was a very sought after thing, and they sold rights to it, and they made a fortune off of it. Both George and Hinsman both made out like their children's children will never have worries in the world because of how much money they made off of that. They did rather well. Now, as far as technical side rating go, because I'm at 20 minutes already, holy shit, guys! But this is a good movie. Technical side, this is a 4 out of 5, 5 out of 5. This is a solid 5 out of 5. This is a 9 or a 10 out of 10 film, in my opinion. This is one you can watch by yourself or with a group of people and have a blast. If you have not checked this out, do yourself a huge favor. Go pop in Creepshow. It's worth the watch. All 5 stories, and the 6th story with Tom Atkins is just the wraparound story is great. Where he is an asshole, an alcoholic asshole who slaps around his kid and throws away his comic book. The kid happens to have a voodoo doll, and you have a fun little voodoo doll scene at the very end of the movie to tie it in. Very fun. And then a fun fact of the day, both Marty Schiff and Tom Savini, they had their nice little cameos at the very end playing the Garbage Men, which Marty Schiff, you should know him from Knight Riders and the Crazies. He was one of the stars of the Crazy. He wasn't Crazies. He wasn't the main guy. He was the main guy's friend. So, a 10 out of 10, 9 out of 10. I think it's good. I'm going to go ahead and put this beauty down. I shall see you guys on Monday. I'm not 100% what I got lined up for the week. I got a couple of them, but not a full week lined up yet. So we'll see what we got. Peace as always.